Hey everybody, Brian Gallagher here on my morning walk and talk with Mia down here in Florida. We were just in Denver at CSM and it was like 18 degrees and flurries and it was awesome. That was a great convention. Thank you APTA and CSM for putting that on. I want to share with you what I got from our seminar that we put on down there. We were talking about how to optimize job satisfaction for both employee and employer, and it's a two-way street. And so many people came up to me after that talk and said, Brian, you know what? The role play in that lecture was so pivotal and so moving to be able to not only teach us the concepts of how to address our staff, or in the case of being an employee or student, because I had 1/3 students, 1/3 employees, 1/3 owners in the room, knowing what my obligation is to be an ethical person while working with an employer and how I should conduct myself was so important to them, for them to see how to apply these training tools. They just got so much out of it. And let me just give you an example. One of the things, if you're watching this video, and let's say, for instance, you might be a graduating DPT student, or you're 3 years out or less, anything 3 years out or less, I consider a new grad. So many kids came up to me in the time I was in Denver, and they said, you know what? That is exactly what our academia is telling us, what our professors are telling us. They are telling us that when you get out of school, you have a DPT license to leverage when you go for that interview. And you should leverage that for as much pay and benefits as you can get. Because guess what? You have $100,000 in student loans, and that employer needs to help compensate you for that exorbitant cost of that degree as you accept that position. Student after student came up and told me that. I swear to God, I wish I could get on a plane and fly to every DPT school and line up every single professor who's got that mental attitude and say to them, what are you thinking? These employers are not their mother, their father, their brother, or their babysitter. It is not their place to wear the financial condition of the student coming out of DPT school. You know, that is completely absurd. And it is completely inappropriate for somebody to sit there and think that that's an appropriate thing to say in the interview process. The interview is not a negotiation. The interview is a discussion. As an employer and as somebody who's worked with thousands of employers, we are trying to find PTs, and I don't care if you're new grad PT or 30 years out PT, we're trying to find a fit who's going to fit in a person who's going to come and fit in our organization, row as hard as the rest of us, hit the key performance indicators that demonstrate that they're a practicing therapist in the top 10%. And that's what's important. It's math when it comes to pay and benefits. There's not a PT owner out there that's trying to get one over on you. It's trying to take advantage of you. I mean, okay, maybe 1 out of 1,000. I mean, maybe. But in my experience, 99% of all PT owners are extremely ethical and extremely well thought out and balanced in terms of how they run their clinic. And they want to see you win as much as they want to see their group win, as much as they want to see their community win, their referral sources, and themselves. So you have to go into your interviews and be prepared as employers to look for people to interview who understand that the individual wins only after the group's winning. And it is a sad day in America that so many kids came up to me and said, my professor is specifically telling me to leverage my DPT degree to get as much as I can in that interview process. I am telling you, nobody, Blue Cross doesn't care you got $100,000 in debt. That owner's not going to go and say, hey, Blue Cross, could you up us from $81 a visit to $85 a visit? You know, these kids I'm hiring now, they got a lot of student loan debt. You know who you should blame on that? You know what you should do about it? You should blame yourself. You should blame your parents. You should blame the federal government. And you should blame the colleges and institutions that have raised tuitions over the last 10 years 400%. That's where your anger should be levied at. Your poor employers are suffering with increased costs and reduced reimbursement. And there you are as a new grad, not even having treated anybody yet as an individual therapist. And you're asking for something well, way and above your pay grade, your experience level, and your talent. So let's be fair. Let's get out of school and let's stay focused on getting a fair compensation for the position you took. And let's put the emphasis on mentorship and professional enhancement so you can look back and say, this is the best decision I ever made taking this job with this employer, because 3 years out of school, I'm a better therapist now than 90% of the other students that got out of school 3 years ago, because this employer fairly compensated me, but above and beyond that, he cared about me both personally and professionally, and he enhanced me through a career development training system that enabled me to be a better person because of it. That's what you should be looking at. And that's what you should be telling your college professors you should be leveraging, is that your beingness, your contribution to the group, so that if that group wins, all the individuals are winning. So there's my rant for today. Hope you guys loved it. And I hope you get to see the truth in what I'm sharing with you. And do not make that mistake of leveraging your degree for something, in my opinion, you're not entitled to.